Hi stars, welcome to Sephirim. Today I've got a new tarot deck that has arrived, so I'll be unboxing it. And the tarot deck is Crystal Unicorn Tarot. So today I have received the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. This is by Luna Prosperity. It's by Pamela Chen and illustrated by Lisa Higuchi, and the graphics calligraphy by Karina Kometa. I'm sorry if I've said those names wrong. The names are notoriously hard. So full disclosure, I did not buy this deck as I actually won it in a prize, which I'll get into in a minute. But the Crystal Unicorn Tarot is kind of been in my basket for a while, been just waiting to save up for it because it just looks so cute. But yes, I won this deck as part of a set of free decks, which the other two are still coming, as a competition for the Way of the Panda Tarot, which is a brand new tarot deck coming out from Kimberly-san. Go on to Kimberly's webpage, Fables Den, and find out about the Way of the Panda Tarot. There's 3 more days-ish for the Kickstarter. You know, fully funded now, but you know, you can get an exclusive Kickstarter edition to the deck, which will come with 4 exclusive cards. 4 whole exclusive cards on top of your 78 tarot deck. So definitely check her out. So onto the unboxing of Crystal Unicorn Tarot. As I said, I've seen this on social media and it just looks so adorable. Like, look, that lovely happy unicorn just running along the front box there. The box is a really soft kind of cardboard. It feels sturdy though, so that's always nice. So, what does it say on the back first? Imagine, sparkle, manifest. Poof yourself into the magical forest of the Crystal Unicorn, where anything is possible. So, you can tell that this is going to be a very kind of cutesy deck, which I don't have a cutesy deck, so this is going to be perfect. I love the kind of watercolour splashes around it as well. Ooh, we have a nice little book. Contain my excitement. So you get a nice little white book with it. Nice, just kind of paragraph explanations of all the cards, which you kind of expect with any tarot deck. And so you've got the major arcana, the minor arcana, and all the cups and suits. Lovely little black and white illustrations in the book as well. So yeah, this is a nice little partnership to the deck. Ever since I started reading more intuitively, I don't pay much attention to little white books anymore. I do tend to just get a feel for the cards, and you know, if it's something that I get stuck with, I might look at the book a few times, but I do kind of rely on myself a lot more for my tarot decks now. When you like get a dozen, you tend to start understanding what you feel from different cards, because meanings can change in between the different decks as well, and the art you need to get used to. So back on to Crystal Unicorn Tarot. So the cards are really nice. They're soft. It feels like they're going to shuffle well. The backs of them are very cute as well. I'm sorry, it's not a very fun video for you at the minute, is it? I'm just so excited to have a new deck in my hands and can't wait to just look through them and get the feel for them. So, confetti toss. Yay unicorn, thank you for purchasing the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. If you'd like to learn tarot or create a tarot deck with me, check out magicalpam.com. And if you've got concerns or questions, you can get readings and everything from Pamela as well. So, I'll put a link to her website in the description below. So, it looks like we've got the cup suit coming up first. So we've got Ace of Cups is the first card that I've seen out of this deck, which is lovely. I'm a Piscean, so I'm very close to the cup deck as that kind of controls water. I like how the little unicorn's hoof is kind of the hand rather than the usual hand, obviously. So that's quite a nice change. Kind of pink and bright. It's very happy. I'm getting very just happy, cutesy vibes off it all. You can tell very quickly that this is very much a Rider-Waite inspired deck. It's just, instead of people, there are unicorns, which you can't really say anything against that. Why wouldn't you want unicorns? Why be a person when you can be a unicorn? So, you know, these are very just nice calming cards. It does feel very much like my Rider-Waite deck, just kind of getting the energy off of these. Oh, actually, I love this one, the Four of Cups. That little unicorn there, he looks very pensive, doesn't he? I actually kind of prefer this to my other Rider-Waite decks. Normally I feel like, you know, kind of annoyance from those type of cards, but this one seems a lot more thoughtful. I'm starting to think that the Crystal Unicorn Tarot is that kind of take a break and slow down and actually think about your answers when you're reading with it. So that's quite a nice change to a deck. And the same with the Five of Cups. So the Four of Cups and Five of Cups can be quite the disappointment type cards in a deck. Whereas with the kind of unicorn spirit in this deck, you really get a kind of, okay, but then what can we do next? It's that kind of energy that I'm feeling from these, which is a kind of lovely change. But even for the happy cards like Six of Cups, it's the same again. Whereas normally there's a very excited rush of kind of being with people and helping people with this card. This is a very kind of gentle kiss, kind of like just a tickle rather than a push. And of course, little unicorns just replacing everything again. It really is just lovely artwork. It's very kind of simple, like nicely painted, just not overly detailed, just enough to kind of give you an idea. You know exactly what it is. It's just kind of calming. It's a very serene deck. If I had to give it any kind of word, it would be serene. Oh, check out his little hat. Don't you just love his little hat? That is very cute. Oh, and the Ten of Cups is a very lovely card. So, the happiest card in the deck, and you can really kind of get happy feelings from this card. Like the rainbow and everything like that. The court suits seem very empty. The Page and Knight has a lot of empty space above the unicorns, but you know, that's not a bad thing, because the Page and Knight can normally be about potential and, you know, things coming together and having more about it. I very much feel like Page and Knights in the court sets are about things coming, about having not, you know, just started out things and not yet completing. So having that kind of empty space, that breathing space in this deck is actually quite nice, you know, not being just taken up with patterns and decoration for patterns and decoration's sake. It is that kind of breath of fresh air, so that is a nice change as well. We have our lovely King and Queen. Again, there's like a bit of empty space, but there is a bit more decoration on the Queen, which I think the Queens do tend to have a little bit more oomph about them. And now we have the Major Arcanas. So instead of the dog, we have a little kitty cat, whereas normally we have man's best friend, the dog, at the fool's feet, and at the unicorn fool's feet we have a little kitty cat. I like the kind of introductions of little crystals here and there and throughout all the cards as well. That's kind of where the crystal unicorns come from. So that would obviously be a quartz crystal, which is kind of clearing and new beginnings and things like that. So perfect for the card. I was supposed to do this. Maybe if I do it this way. So we've got the High Priestess, or Magician, and the High Priestess. Again, it's just unicorns replacing the people, which I do love. We've got a lot more patterns filling up the blank spaces on these, which is perfect for the Major Arcana, because it is, you know, they're the major things in your life. It's stuff going on, it's kind of all the noise you have to filter out as well for the Major Arcana, so that is quite nice to have that kind of symbolism in there as well. Empress, that's a beautiful energy for this card, and just really kind of loving, homely, kind of like drawing you in, just comfort, just everything you'd want out of an Empress card, really. I very much like this deck for if you're unsure, if you kind of need that kind of gentle push, just kind of holding your hand through things. I wouldn't think this would be a deck for serious matters. It is definitely going to be that kind of nice, warm, fuzzy deck that you have. So, Emperor, he seems a very calm and collected kind of emperor, kind of a little bit uncomfortable on his throne really, which I always find with the Emperor. Rather than the kings, the Emperor is the one that feels he has more people against him to be able to keep his throne, and I kind of get that good energy from this card. Hierophant, always looking up. Ah, the Lovers. This is a very cute card as well. See how the angel unicorn is looking down upon them on the Adam and Eve type thing. It is very reminiscent of the Rider-Waite. It is very obviously that. Chariot. Ironic that the horse is being pulled by other creatures as well for the chariot. I'm surprised that there wasn't more unicorns being used in this, but at the same time, it works, it does. This is a very cute one. Strength is normally portrayed by a lion, but of course there was also the story of the lion and the unicorn. They ran all over town, something about fighting over a crown. I was taught that at school. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with British history, or it's something to do with some kind of history, and that's why there's a unicorn and a lion on something or other, a shield maybe. But this kind of gentle gazing at each other and understanding, it really reminds me of that little fairy tale of the unicorn and the lion, and just how you can kind of overcome hatred and overcome things. Hey, is that starfish? Oh no, it's flowers. Sorry, it's very hard to kind of see backwards on the camera screen. But yeah, flowers in your hair is very nice and warm. The lion, you know, he's not happy per se, but he's understanding, he's calm, and the unicorn is above him, so it is kind of like getting over things. It's a very different kind of strength card to what I've seen in other decks, so it is quite a nice kind of, you know, you can overcome things rather than you have overcome things type strength card, I would say. Little hermit and a little cloak, easy cute. Wheel of Fortune. Justice. Justice is a nice kind of serene card. I had to pause then because for me this Justice card kind of had a different energy again to other decks that I've seen. It was very much a stop. Feeling very much this is going to be my stop and think about it properly deck. Even though it's gentle, it's when you kind of need that shock kind of change in pace, a very Four of Swords feeling, so it'll be interesting to see what that card is going to be like later on. Hanging Unicorn. This is my birth card, so it's always good to see what this card is portrayed in decks. Sorry, you just get lost in the art looking at it. It's just so lovely. Like I keep repeating over and over, it is very much a kind of stop and be mindful. It's a very meditative deck. I think that's what I'm loving about it right now. The Death card, you know, a lot of people always say that they're worried or scared about the Death card if they're not too sure about what tarot is, and the Death card is actually just such a lovely card. To me it's always a Phoenix card. So as you can see, the Death in the Unicorn Crystal Tarot is just Rider-Waite without all the people in. The unicorns actually replaced the horse in this situation. But normally there would be Death riding upon his white steed and all these people freaking out about Death walking around. All of them have been removed in this card, and we've only got the unicorn walking himself. Not sure if it's my favourite, you know, because, you know, this is actually one of my kind of strength cards in a tarot deck. The Death card always means a lot to me because it is about natural new beginnings. You know, you can't fight time. You do have to kind of get through things, and the Death card always means, you know, it will end when it needs to end. This will come about naturally. So, but then, again, yeah, if this isn't going to be a very serious deck for me, it is going to be my meditative deck, then maybe it's good that I'm not having a natural ending card in it. You've always got to see the bright side of things. Temperance, I can see that this is a absolutely gorgeous card. I love the bright yellow background and how Unicorn there is just happily standing around doing his temperance thing. Again with the crystals and the bright psychicness of the parapole. And his cute little wings just kind of out there fluttering. I do like that. Devil. And of course the devil is a unicorn type goat thing himself. Now this is interesting. There's what appears to be grapes or blackcurrants as the unicorn's tail, plus fire on the other one. Not quite sure what that's meant to symbolise, so I'll have to check the book later. But it's quite a fun little card. In keeping with everything I've said, of course the devil is kind of lighting the unicorn's tail on fire, so, but I'm thinking this is very much a card of, you know, don't get weighed down by the sweet things in life, and, you know, don't let other people hurt you, which is perfect for the devil, and in a light-hearted deck like this, it's the right kind of message to be wanting to give. Tower. I don't think horses should ever have to jump from that height. That's quite a shocking card, but it's a very good depiction in this deck, in keeping with the energy and the design of it. You know, the Tower card needed to have people jumping around, and, you know, I think the kind of shock on the unicorns' faces, you know, all their little eyes, kind of, it gives that kind of energy that you need. Star. Star is one of my favourite cards, along with Moon and Sun. I always find these are very important. Whenever I get the Star, Moon and Sun come up in a reading, it's, you know, I use them as a way of like building up energy. You know, they're very important to come together, or you kind of know whereabouts you are in the project with whether the Star, Moon or Sun come up. To me, they're as important as the court cards for kind of understanding timescales and that. So, nice gentle star, kind of an overworked star. You see he's also using his tail as a second hand to pour more water. But then I suppose he doesn't have two hands like the human version of the Rider-Waite star. You can't use both your hooves. He's only got one mouth, bless him. So the moon is not always a very happy card. It can, you know, be a dreamer, but also how that dreamer can be trapped in nightmares. I can see that, you know, with the pink in the sky. Yeah, I am getting that kind of troubled energy, but it's still very light-hearted. See, the sun, you know, happy. Again, this in the Rider-Waite is a child happily riding on the back of a horse, so they've just removed the people and kept the horse on this one. Nice cute little crystal there, and the sunflowers. I never like faces on suns, it just scares me. Nearly all of my decks have it with the sun and have a face, and I don't think the sun should have a face. But that's besides the point, we'll just ignore him for a minute, you know. But this is a nice card with a nice little flag flowing in the wind there, just to kind of celebration and happiness. Judgment. This is about the Your Calling card, you know, as coming out of the graves, the kind of born again, that kind of energy coming from the Judgment card in tarot decks. For Crystal Unicorn Tarot, this is, yeah, very cute. It's just the unicorn version. There seems to be a lot more, so I think this is a lot more about friends, a lot more about bringing people together in this deck, is, you know, having more things around you and not doing things alone. That's the kind of energy I'm getting from this. And the World, this is nice and bright cards, almost luminescent here. These cards really are just nice to kind of slide along each other. It's very easy, it's good quality, I must say that. But yeah, back to the World is, you know, nice strong card, very much on the unicorn in the centre, which is what you want from a World card. It's, you know, all about the unicorn, all about you, all about having everything. That's what the World's about. And then we're back into all the different suits now. So again, it's all very cute cards. I'm not going to keep you going through every single one because I think you would lose your minds. But yeah, it's a very nice 4 of coins, which is kind of the greedy card, if there was a greedy card. So, and he looks quite unbalanced there and looks a bit worried, so that's a nice feeling as well. They look like very short unicorns going under the window for 5 of coins there. I like how there's always a different colour background, or it seems to be. It seems to keep different colours going on, so you kind of never bored of it. 9 of Pentacles is lovely, kind of like just such serene energy. It is a lovely deck. Again, with the a lot of negative white space for the Page and Knights. I think that's going to be the theme, kind of that incompleteness of whatever you're doing. That's kind of what the Page and Knight does. See, the Page is very still, that means starting out, and the Knight is normally in action, he's moving, so that's what that means. Again, Queen has a lot more pattern to it than the others do, and the King returns to having a bit more peaceful, having a bit more breathing time because it's completed. So that's a nice kind of pattern going through on the court cards. Oh, Ace of Swords, I love this one. Ace of Swords is always my "you've got this" card, because swords go after, you know, about your mind and your thought. If I'm ever asking a question and I'm not quite sure if I'm doing the right thing, I'll split my deck, and it's normally the Ace of Swords, and it's my kind of, yep, this is good, like, so that's but so 2 of Swords, this is lovely. The 3 of Swords, this is another card that people don't normally like to see because of the heart being stabbed by 3 of Swords. It's a nice rainbow heart, you know, very stormy clouds behind it. There is no unicorn on this one, so I'm wondering what the decision behind that was. You don't normally have a person, it is just floating swords and hearts and the typical Rider-Waite as well. But it's just a lack of communication, kind of, but I'm feeling very closed off, like, because it's a rainbow heart, I am just kind of getting that when you close yourself off to others and don't even bother to listen to other people. That's the kind of energy that I'm getting from this card for the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. Oh, I missed 4 of Swords. So as I said earlier, this is the kind of this is the kind of card that I kind of was getting the feeling for the deck. And yes and no, it is that kind of energy that you have to stop and just kind of take a break, but I don't feel that this is the one describing the entire deck at all. I'm getting a much more warmer energy than what this card is giving off. So 5 of Swords looks a lot more forgiving than my normal Rider-Waite decks would be. 6 of Swords again, there's a little baby unicorn next to the unicorn that's travelling, keeping her head covered, so I'm starting to feel that this is a lot more about being together and keeping together with others, not being alone. 7 is nice and lovely. 8 of Swords, that's a nice representation. His little hooves are all tied up. 9 of Swords. There's a lot of blank space behind the swords there. Normally you would have like either a monster or, you know, being worried and things like that. So it's just kind of, I'm getting a very much, you know, there is no cause for concern out of this card, whereas normally the 9 of Swords would be my, this is what your cause of concern is card. So again, it's how different decks can portray and give off a different energy of things. 10 of Swords, oh, the poor baby. 10 of Swords is always quite a harrowing card to see, but it really does mean, like, you know, this is the worst it can get, this is rock bottom, so the only way is up. Tarot is very good at kind of turning things around and making you want to be better. But oh, poor baby. For once we don't actually have a lot of empty space in the top of the page. We've got clouds and birds, so that might mean that you're just starting out, but your mind's clouded. As I said, the swords are mind, the suit of minds and thought and things like that. So having this extra patterns and stuff going on this one, it very much feels you're not doing it right, and he's not holding his sword right. Oh, who's gonna tell him? Not even holding the handle. So, you know, maybe the pointing out when you've kind of messed something up. I'm getting a very kind of cheeky feeling from this card, but Knight of Swords, he seems very extreme. Again, there isn't a lot of empty space above him. It's clouded, it's kind of busy, so it's, you know, I'm getting the feeling that the court cards for this swords deck is going to be my, you know, stop thinking too much, especially when the whole deck itself has so far been kind of take a break, breathe. And in reverse, the Queen is actually very empty, whereas the others have not been, just a single bird, so it kind of reverses everything else that we've seen up to now. And then the King, rather than being emptier, is actually a lot more patterned. So yeah, I think the sword is kind of the opposite of the rest of the deck. And we go into wands. Again, that little hoof just makes me laugh. So again, we've got nice bright colours and very thoughtful art. Everything is kind of nice and just makes you think about things. The celebration card, and kind of hectic card. I think this is the best one I've seen. It has a lot of like grr energy about it. This is a very sweet representation. Normally this would be a kind of victory and, you know, being happy that you've achieved something card. So I think that's got quite a nice proud energy, but also that kind of, you know, understanding that you're not done yet. Eight of Wands, almost exactly like Rider-Waite, so that's quite easy to learn the meaning behind. So this one's a bit different to some of my other Rider-Waites, where the 10 of Wands would be someone planting or picking up the 10th wand, whereas in this one the unicorn's actually tying up the bundle of wands together, so that's a very much completion for me, so much more than other Rider-Waite decks that I've got. Page of Wands, and we're back to having nice, clear, empty, negative space to kind of give that breathing room. Knight of Wands is very much energy, but also kind of that fearful, like maybe you've gone too fast and you're tripping over yourself type energy. So that's quite interesting. And Queen is back to having more pattern than the rest, and then we've got the King, who is slightly patterned but have, you know, breathing in a different area. So there's quite a nice mixture in the court cards. So yep, that was all of the cards in the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. Like I say, it's a very much a serene deck. It's very cutesy. I don't have one of those so far, so I'm looking forward to kind of getting used to this deck and bringing it into more readings, especially when you need, you know, just that kind of quiet, understanding deck that isn't gonna call you out on bullshit, like some of my other decks, which can be a bit harsh in their answers. So yeah, thank you very much for being in. Tune in to the next few videos. I'm sure Crystal Unicorn Tarot will make its debut in a reading very soon. Cheers!